So it's mid-January, it's butt-ass cold, and it's probably the windiest weekend of the year so far. But in spite of all this, you and Bro go on a 3-day road trip across the panhandles of Oklahoma and Texas to photograph everything abandoned and, well, mostly the abandoned along the way.
Oh yeah, cold enough for you?
Fuck yeah, it was.
Fucking shit.
This place is insane, though.
Day one of the trip was not in the panhandle. In fact, I only got one clip of video from day one. So here's that clip of me taking a picture of a gas station in Enid, Oklahoma. And here's the rest of the pictures from that day. But these are not from the panhandle, and that's not what you're here for. So this is Devin, aka Bro, and he's a fellow film photographer here in Oklahoma, and you should go follow him on Instagram. We shoot a lot of the same stuff.
Yeah, no, it's gonna take me a couple minutes.
Fine.
There we go. This is much better.
Was it worth standing in the cold wind for 45 minutes? No. But at the same time, I don't hate it. I think it came out well, I like the colors, just I wish the clouds were not so gray and dark behind it. At the time, it seemed like it would be a good idea, there'd be a cool contrast, but it didn't work out, not quite what I envisioned. Now the safety definitely did not work out. There is clearly something going on with this back that adapts 617 to a 4x5 camera. Clearly there's something going on with the film tension, things wave in and out of focus across the whole thing, and you can see on the far right edge there that there's some curling going on, and that's always indicative that there is a tension issue in a back like this. So, gonna have to get that fixed. I will say that I'm happy enough with the first shot. It is the only large format or pano shot I got the whole trip, so I'll take it.
Shot 0 B-roll. He's frolicking for the shot. But I don't blame him. It is what I would call a banger. Frolic, Devin, frolic.
While Devin was out there frolicking around in the field trying to get his shot, I got a few of my own from the truck. Nothing special, just candid shots of the plains. I like the colors. And before we left, I got my own version of the house on the GW690. A little further down the road, the sun finally decided to come out. Of course, though, the wind was unrelenting, and, well, you've seen this part before. But what you didn't see was me pushing the shutter button to take this mediocre shot. It's a cool subject, but I think it would have benefited from me zooming with my feet a little bit more and getting closer. Which I actually did for the next couple scenes. you know what? It is nice. It is the last shot of Gold 200 I had in the GW, and I wish I had saved that for this angle. Fortunately though, I still had some Superior 400 in the Minolta, and I just happened to like that film a little bit more. So I'm kinda glad that it worked out like this. Through that afternoon, we chugged along to quite a few other locations. I shot a roll of Ektar, and only these 2 shots came out. The rest came out like this. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't know what happened here. This roll was only about 1 month expired, so I assumed, should be good. Apparently, it was not. Now, I showed you the bad pictures that happened here already, but what I didn't show you was the photos on Superior that actually worked out. And this, for me, was where the afternoon started to turn around. And my pictures, I gotta say, started to come out pretty dang good. Now, this old place doesn't look like much, but it's actually the Caroline Henderson homestead. And if you don't know who that is, she's the woman who wrote Letters from the Dust Bowl during the Great Depression, which was a series of letters and essays known for their vivid detail of the struggles on the plains in the late 20s and early 30s, covering things like dust storms, drought, and the harsh life on the plains through the Great Depression. Caroline's dying wish was that the one-room shack, her homestead, that she referred to as her castle, be left intact and the land never be farmed again. And from the looks of it, I would say that she got her wish. Now, just in case you forgot what the fried shots on Ektar looked like, here's that crispy critter again. And if you forgot what happens when you leave your Osmo 3 standing up in the wind, here's that again. Fortunately, after the second time, I learned my lesson. But while it was laying on the ground, I got a few more shots on the Minolta. This stop may have been the best one of the whole trip. This is the Four Corners Truck Stop Cafe. Or at least, it was at one point. Now, it's an abandoned hotel and cafe. Yeah, they definitely got some snow over here. Yeah, that's pretty nice, I gotta say. That flare off the windshield in the corner there really, I think, took this picture from being okay to damn. And if you think it looks good here, you should see it on some metallic paper, like this. And if you like the look of that, you can get your very own copy on craymPhoto.com. Back on the road that afternoon, the Panhandle continued to provide, with many abandoned scenes to be found along the way, as well as hazards, which makes for a very slow afternoon of photography. A lot of fun, but very slow, because you drive a mile, and then you have to stop and shoot the next thing. The Panhandle is littered with these old farmsteads, nearing 100 years old or over 100 years old. Just like the Caroline Henderson house, they are relics of a bygone era in which Americans came out west and attempted to make their own way in this harsh little corner of the country known as No Man's Land. Or at least that's what it was known as between 1850 and 1890, because it was an unclaimed and unincorporated piece of land belonging to no state or territory. Now, it's probably just a film photographer's cliche, or maybe it is something about me, but old, abandoned equipment like this really draws me in. The old school retro look and the rusty patina, those are cool. But for me, it's the idea that these machines worked for a lifetime, and then one day, they were all just left here. Just like the farmhouses and homesteads they accompany, they were all somebody's dream at some point, maybe for a better life, or maybe just to make a living. Because sometimes that's the dream, not fame or fortune, but making your own way in a place that you call your own. You might say I need to stop shooting into the sun. Then to that, I say no, because this is way less dramatic. And so is this. It's a decent composition, but the way the light hits everything is just meh. But these, even though my hand's in the shot, are much more dramatic. There's more of a mood, and I feel like that fits the abandoned nature of this building a lot better. Now, you may not know this, but the Texas Panhandle has a lot more nothing than the Oklahoma Panhandle. So, here's the 3 other pictures from Texas that day. Now, like I was saying, the Texas Panhandle has a whole lot of nothing. Occasionally, though, you'll find a small town that has a little bit of something, but for the most part, it's a lot of nothing.
One old lonesome tree. And some cows.
For being such a barren place, one thing the Texas Panhandle has a lot of is these historical markers. And even though I am an Okie, one good thing I'll say about Texas is their historical commission does a great job marking and preserving these landmarks. Going from Oklahoma, where there's something to shoot about every 5 minutes, to Texas, where there's something to shoot maybe once an hour, is a bit demoralizing. But eventually, Texas does provide. Just not always enough. See, it's not that I didn't like shooting in Texas, or think that there were great scenes to be had there. The problem is, they're so few and far between that by the time you've got 3 scenes under your belt, you're back in Oklahoma and out of the Panhandle. And that's exactly what happens in this video. So, when this abruptly ends, you'll have to forgive me for that. So as I try to bring this video to a close, let me wrap it up by saying, the Panhandles are definitely worth shooting. Even Texas. There's a lot out there, it's just really spread out. It'll take you some time to find it. When you do though, it's worth it. Even though it might not feel like it at the time, it's worth it. So get out, explore your state, explore your hometown, take a buddy with you, and see something you haven't seen before. Go take some great pictures, or even some not so great ones. And witness this stuff while you still can, because it won't be here forever. And most importantly, shoot more film. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, drop a like, or consider subscribing. To see more of my work between videos, follow me on Instagram. And if you want to buy a print, check out my Photoshop, craymPhoto.com.